everyone, welcome to Sourcetable. In this video, I'm going to show you how I use Sourcetable to analyze data and create reports for my own business. I run various social media accounts dedicated to teaching the skills for data analysis. But even as a data analytics content creator, I've found a ton of value in using Sourcetable to analyze my data for me. There's three main ways that I like to use Sourcetable: data cleaning, data analysis, and data visualization. So let me show you how Sourcetable can do all three.
When you first log into your Sourcetable account, you will be directed to your Sourcetable workspace. This is where you can view all of your workbooks. You also have some other options over here to the left. I'm going to go ahead and start a new workbook for my social media analysis, and I'll title this workbook TikTok Performance May-June 2025 and just click Create. Now I have a blank workbook with the Sourcetable chatbot over here to the right. So to import my data, I'll just click File, and now I can choose the format that my data is currently stored as. I'm importing my data as an Excel file, so I'll click Excel, and now I can find where my data is stored on my computer and click Open. Alright, so I have my data imported here into a Sourcetable spreadsheet. This is my TikTok performance data for May and June. And it looks like a pretty clean data set, right? We don't see any inconsistent formatting or anything like that. But I did notice that we have some negative values in my comments column. This is a bit weird to me. It seems odd that there would be some days where we actually have a negative amount of comments. So I can actually ask Sourcetable if this data is correct. I find that it's helpful to provide as much context as possible to help Sourcetable's AI understand the situation. So Sourcetable actually thinks that this data is correct, and it gives me a little bit of information about what happened and why. So this is super helpful because if I were doing this analysis on my own, I may have taken the time to research this metric and figure out if the data is correct, or more likely, I may have just eliminated the data assuming it was incorrect. I'm also going to clean up this videos posted column. I just want to see a 0 if no video was posted and a 1 if a video was posted. So to do that really quickly, I'm just going to highlight the entire column of data, and now I can just ask the AI for what I want. And there we go. All right, so now that I've cleaned my data set, I'm ready to start analyzing it. I find that Sourcetable is particularly useful for getting the ball rolling with an analysis. It does a really good job of spotting any anomalies or correlations so that I can then ask the right questions to dive deeper. So I like to start by asking some high-level questions and getting more specific with my questions as we go. I also find that it helps to be specific about what kind of data this is and where your data is in the workbook. So I specified that this is TikTok performance data located in the Overview tab. I also noted that I want to see June's performance as well as June versus May. Alright, so here's the analysis that Sourcetable put together. It noticed that I had much stronger engagement in June compared to May. So my next question would be why? Why did we see this dramatic growth? And it actually went ahead and provided some guesses about what happened. So this is all really good information, but I want to ask a follow-up question. I want to know how long the impact lasts of posting a video. So we obviously know that posting a video boosts engagement, but I want to know how long that boost lasts. So I can just ask that question. Alright, so asking this question provided some really interesting insights. It looks like we see peak engagement the day after posting, not the actual day the video was posted. To me, this makes a lot of sense, especially if I'm posting a video later in the day. Sourcetable's AI even provided some recommendations on how to leverage this day+1 peak, including when I should respond to comments, how often I should post, and when I should promote my posts. Alright, so the last thing I want to do here is create a nice report with all of my findings. This way I can share my findings or just save them for myself for future reference. So this is where Sourcetable really shines in my opinion. It always takes me a really long time to create charts and graphs and make them look nice, but Sourcetable can do it in about 10 seconds. So all I do is just ask for charts and graphs for the analysis that Sourcetable completed. I also prefer clean and simple graphs versus really colorful and eye-catching graphs, so I specified that as my preference. Alright, so these look pretty good. Asking Sourcetable to run an analysis first and then create visualizations based on the analysis helps ensure that the charts and graphs created are relevant to the questions we want answered. If you dive right into creating your visualizations before the analysis, you might get a bunch of pretty charts and graphs that don't really tell you anything useful. Another trick that Sourcetable can do is create an entire dashboard. So if you don't want to mess around with creating multiple visualizations, you can just ask for a dashboard based on your analysis instead. This is a great way to get everything you need in one prompt. Once I have my visualizations created, I like to insert them on a new tab titled Report. This way, when I come back to this workbook, I have my analysis and insights on one tab and my raw data on another tab. From here, I can save this workbook onto my desktop, but I usually just keep all of my reports in my Sourcetable workspace. That way, I can easily make edits within Sourcetable if needed.
All right, so I've just shown you how you can use Sourcetable to analyze social media performance. We covered everything from data cleaning to generating insights to visualizing the insights via a dashboard, and it only took me a few minutes. This is a really great exercise for evaluating performance to help you understand what's working and what's not, and ultimately drive decision-making going forward. So I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough, and thanks for watching.